Hello everyone, today we're going to take a look at something completely different. This is a game by the name of RymdResa. I know that's not the exact way to pronounce it because I am not Swedish and I'm not going to try. But yes, it is Swedish and it means space travel, as I have been assured by the devs. The development studio behind this is I believe a two-person dev team by the name of Morgondag, which means tomorrow in Swedish. So, yeah, my foreign language skills do not extend to Swedish. I apologize for butchering any pronunciations. But this is a kind of rogue-lite space odyssey sort of game. It is very hard to compare to others. I like to make a couple of comparisons every now and then when I start a video just to help people kind of understand what they're in for, but in this case there's not a lot that I can really compare it to. I'd say the closest thing I've done is probably Sunless Sea. Both games involve you piloting ships, although in this case you're in space, but you know, similar. And both games have a heavy focus on exploration and dying quite a bit. Mostly focused on exploration, discovery, kind of mapping out your area. But Sunless Sea definitely has combat to it. This game actually has no combat whatsoever. There is no fighting. That doesn't mean you can't die, however, you very much will. And it's also quite abstract in its theme, similar to how Sunless Sea is, very much poetic, some prose here and there. So let's get in. To start with, you choose a ship, and in this case I have several of them. Now, you start with only this one, which is free. You can bring it out as many times as you want to, but it is very basic, as it says, the faithful, always at your service for free. Every ship has different stats and a different cost. Now, these three right here, you won't be able to get into, actually these four, you won't be able to get until you get to Chapter 2, which basically means that the first chapter has a specific mission. You have to find these things and activate them, and it's, you know, dependent on what is randomly generated for you. And once you do that, you'll be able to fly all of them, but of course they cost quite a bit sometimes. Space points is the kind of humorously named currency here. And you get those just from exploring, from discovering, from finding. And these each will cost a certain amount. So let's just go. I've never used this one. It is apparently very fast. I don't know. That is a UFO. Fast acceleration, large pickup. That sounds fun. Let's do that. Also, there's this thing called a legacy bonus. Every time you finish the game, whether you beat the mission or you die, you will be given a little score screen at the end, and it builds up this legacy meter. And once it tops out, you can choose a bonus from, I think, 9 different bonuses. And you can then activate this, but it only applies for one game session, and it's consumed when you die, as it says right there. So basically, this is kind of a meta version of an upgrade, sort of. But you have to build this meter up, and you can, of course, upgrade it, because it was originally at 61% experience, but I filled the meter twice and chose experience both times, which made the experience bonus larger. So I'm just going to activate it to show you. And let's launch in this Ithan Scout, a UFO, basically. Boop. So you choose a chapter. The first one has a specific mission, and the second one apparently has a bit more of a difficult mission. And as you can see here, each chapter has unique gameplay and a unique set of diary pods, which is something that you'll see in a minute. And apparently Chapter 3 is in a different universe, so the areas you're used to will not even be the same. Let's go to Chapter 2.
A new chance. Pioneers inhabit this new world of ours, operating in new areas, discovering, creating new history. This time, we'll get it right.
There you go. A little bit of the kind of poetry you can see. So, the game is definitely very abstract in its stylings, and you can very much see that right now as I'm floating around. Boop. I can explore this. Oh, looks like this is quite a bit different. I can terraform the planet. Can do all kinds of stuff. Oh my. This is new. Alright, hang on a minute. Let's go back. Let's see my mission here. A new home, a new beginning for your species. You must gather material to rebuild this planet. Get close to objects in space and collect. Fill your cargo bay and return home. Upgrade the planet. Make your home flourish. So yeah, complete this and you unlock Chapter 3, Mothership. So every chapter has very much different gameplay. So in this case, I am to find things. So let's, I guess I have to begin by selecting one, so let's do that. There's a lot of options here. Let's see. The shield seems very important, so let's research this. There we go. Guess I unlocked it. And now I have to presumably collect materials. And this is your little kind of pointer. It's like it's technically another ship actually, but it points you to the direction of your general objective, basically. In this case, I'm actually kind of exploring on my own, trying to find things, which is very much the gist of the game, really. So, as you can see here, there is in fact an inventory screen. You will get bits and pieces for your ships, and these do not go anywhere when you die. So in this case, I have a style that fits on this ship. Styles, well, everything is a bit, again, kind of non-physical. Except for the engine, you have custom, sentry, aura, style. They're all very kind of non-material things. In this case, a style, it's going to give me more speed and acceleration, and I think it might change the appearance of my ship. Yeah, it changes the styles change the appearance of things slightly as well. So in this case now, my UFO looks even fancier. And all of this stuff is for a different ship. As you can see here, it tells you the requirement. Some items have requirements, some don't. There's also consumables. In this case, I started with some resource supplies. Resource is your fuel and your life. This, as you can see here, these resources, every time you take damage, your resources will deplete. As you can see, there's no like health gauge anywhere. And also, as you move, your resources deplete. So you're trying to... Okay, let's not get too close to that star. You're trying to find kind of things, and these things can be anything. As you can see, there's all kinds of stuff floating around. There's an item that I can pick up here. I can also get close to any of these objects in space and explore them. In this case, got some data, gave me some resources so I can live longer. Sometimes they'll give you space points, sometimes they'll give you other things. In this case, I'm getting various materials by getting close to stuff that I can bring back to my home planet to upgrade it. Okay, so this time I actually lost some space points from exploring that, but I did get an item. So if I go back to my inventory, no, that aura is for a different ship. However, I did get a new consumable, the phase cloak. Makes you invisible for a short time. Now that is important because even though there's no combat, there are sentries, things that can actually find you and attack you. So you gotta be a bit careful with that. Nope, exploration failed. So these are mines. There are various things that you really don't want to run into as you're floating around space. There are mines, asteroids, these are stars, which will, of course, if you go into that red border, will start to drain your resources very quickly. And there are assorted other things, as I mentioned. Now, space, in this case, is actually quite large. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of places to go. God. And generally, what you're trying to do is find and explore things. To get space points, to get resources, and in this case, to upgrade my planet. That thing's got some resources of its own as well, but I need to be a bit careful. So as you can see, there's not really a map per se. There is a map that you can get, but it's not something that you always start with. And I'm about to cross years, so as this happens, let's watch this.
No place for me. I will never find my place among the living again. That I know, and I know that I one day will have to leave. But I'm a damn good pretender.
There you go. Every year in space, you will get some experience. And every 2 years, you'll get either one of those, which are called diary pods, which give you some prose, a bit of kind of poetic wanderings of the mind, and sometimes also a little bit of lore as to what's going on. What I've gathered is basically the Earth is gone, and you're looking for a new place for yourself in space. Occasionally, every other year, instead of getting one of those pods, you could also get a choice, kind of like this, only this is something that I actually came across. And the choices are rare, but can give you extremely good rewards depending on what you choose. In this case, we should always turn west. There we go. Got a bunch of space points and some resources. So every time I look at something, I could gain or lose resources and space points. I could also gain experience, and there are items that I could potentially obtain from this as well. In this case, got a bunch of resources, and let's hit this. Boop! Boosts us along in one direction. Not too far. You also have a boost of your own, but it does consume a lot of resources, so you gotta be careful. Depending on the ship you're using, your general hardiness, as in how many resources you can have maximum, your speed, your acceleration, all that stuff changes. Every ship has its own little boost. So if I can offload some materials here. There we go. Now, in the case of the first chapter, you actually have to complete the mission all in one run, but in this case, because obviously, as you can tell, it'll take quite a while, even when you die, your progress on upgrading this home actually is saved. In this case, I've got a very interesting little piece of space. Every bit of space has a name and a different appearance, usually by their color, and they will all have different things to explore, and once you kind of play long enough, you learn what each one is like, and the kind of danger level of each one. Some have more dangerous things in them than others, and those that are more dangerous will also have greater rewards if you're able to successfully explore them without dying. Also, there's a research system here. I haven't found any, but occasionally you will find these beacons that you can research to give you things. You have to find the research pods, though, and I haven't found one, so I can't really speak about that one a lot. So let's see. Oh, yes, the levels. Also, there is a level up system. I've got some points. These are your main stat points. They give you different things. You can see when you hover over them, they show you what they actually give you. Every time you level up, you get some stat points, and you can also get some from doing other things, other kind of side missions that I'll show you in a second. And you can also respec for 25k. So, different nodes or things that you can explore in space sometimes will actually have a requirement of one of these stats to actually use. I'm gonna go to 20 exploration because I like getting more experience, and that also helps me not fail as much. Also, every 5 levels up to 20, you'll get a choice of 2 abilities, and you pick one of those 2, and it gives you a permanent boost, but of course the choice is permanent unless you, like, reset your data in the options menu. In this case, got a couple of things. You may have seen those little blue stars. They're considered stars or stardust. They give you experience when you collect them, and because these things right here. And because of those upgrades that I have, they also give me a couple of resources when I collect them, so that's a nice thing to be able to do. And this is pretty much the game that you're seeing right now.
Skybox and birds.
Let that go.
In the skybox, in my dream world,
the writing is
birds,
interesting.
They fly so high, looking down through the clouds, not to be found. Attached to the wings are cotton threads so thin, knotted to paper sheets with tightly written dreams.
There you go. The writing is very interesting indeed. It is actually kind of a strange world, even though it's our universe, technically. You'll see a lot of kind of poetic wonderings of, I guess it's you, your pilot. And you'll also see, some kind of interesting little, oh god, bits of information that you may get from actually, oh god, yeah, I'm totally gonna lose here if I'm not careful. That you may learn if you are able to hang around these pods for long enough and learn about what's happened. Oh god, this particular area is very dangerous. There's also a lot of materials here, as you can see, though. So I'm gonna try and get all these that I can, see if I can make it back to the main base and upgrade it. So yeah, the game is very much a kind of struggle for yourself, a struggle for the future of yourself / humanity. Ow. 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 And it's also quite, it's got this very sort of forlorn theme to it. Uh-oh. I lose immediately because I lost 70 resources and had less than that. There we go. So this is what happens when you complete your run, whether you win or lose. You are totaled up. There's the little legacy bonus that will appear occasionally, and tells you how you died. So if I launch one more time, let's go in a different ship, although this is quite expensive. I'll do it for the video. There we go. See, as you can see, my material count is still there, and we're still at stage 1, even though I've died. Oh, my consumables are still here as well. The general kind of progress towards Chapter 3 is actually kept, which is interesting. I've got nothing I can actually put on this ship, unfortunately. I thought I did. Maybe we'll have to find some. So the game is interestingly themed, we'll say. I've not really played anything quite like it. Again, there's, of course, that example of Sunless Sea. It has some similarities to that, but it is still quite different. In this case, your individual character actually isn't all that important. In fact, you don't even have a name. Your exploits are important. Your exploration through the galaxy and kind of trying to find whatever you can. That's what's important. It is very much about exploration, so much so, in fact, that it is focused entirely on exploration and not at all on combat or anything of that sort. So, as you may be able to hear, the actual soundtrack and the sounds of the game in general, very ambient, relaxing, kind of floaty space stuff. Oh. I can do stuff. Let's get some space points. Ow. The ship has quite a few resources anyway, so... Trying to collect all of these. There's some materials here and some experience. But yeah, the game is not like quite anything I've actually ever played before because it's so... different in its gameplay style. The gameplay loop actually changes depending on which chapter you're in, and you're going to be doing different things every chapter, but the general gist of the game is you are exploring, you are finding these things in space that you will explore and see what happens, and then moving on to the next one, trying to learn what the different sectors of space entail, what kind of threats and rewards you may get from going to each one, and then trying to complete your given mission. In this case, building up that planet. But if we go to the missions here, I mentioned side quests, there are also these. Almost like achievements. Some of them are achievements, but not all of them. When you do certain numbers of certain things, you'll also get a bunch of space points, some stats, and complete these missions. There are a lot of things, actually. Yes. And different research goals, advanced goals, unlocking specific types of equipment, completing numbers of quests, finding things, crafting things, which I'll have to show you, I guess, now. Advanced, dedication, complete everything. There are also secrets, special secret things you can find in space that sound awesome, by the way. Energy rings, black hole. Yeah, the game has a lot of these kind of meta goals, as well as your actual main quest, that are kind of meant to keep you going. So I mentioned crafting. Basically, you can scrap stuff. You just put something there, and it will fill up this meter. Once this meter gets full, you'll get a randomly crafted item, and items do have rarities. You can see this is good, this is common. I found something that was higher than that, but I can't remember what it was called now. So yeah, it does have some familiar aspects to it, like the loot system with rarities and things like that, the kind of choice system, and the idea of exploration, but the way that it's put together is very different from almost anything I've ever played, and I actually enjoy it. It's one of those things. Also, the writing is excellent, by the way. The actual text for everything. It's, again, kind of got that forlorn, wistful theme, but it's very, very well done. It doesn't feel overly dramatic, I suppose. It feels kind of appropriately, how would you say that, really? Appropriately lost. As if, you know, you're floating in space, which you are. I'll approach it. I'll probably get destroyed. Oh, actually got a bunch of stuff. Wow. Sweet. So it's a matter of scooping it up. There we go. And, you know, who knows what could have happened there, but you gotta make a choice and see what happens. And that's pretty much what the game is about. It's about making a choice and seeing what happens. You are exploring space, trying to find your place in it, and all the while doing these different meta quests and objectives along with your kind of main goal, depending on which chapter you're in. Ow. I think it's interesting. I think it's very neat. It's very different from pretty much anything I've ever played, and its kind of ambient, relaxing nature makes it one of those games that you go back to occasionally when you don't want to play something super competitive or stressful and you just kind of want to float around in space and chill for a while and experience some very well-written, if a bit mysterious dialogue. It is mysterious, but I don't find it to be pretentious or anything. A lot of people have that complaint with certain games, that the writing is almost so strange, so pretentious, I guess is really the only word I can use, and I don't find this to be that way at all.
Sugar. When I want the Dark Knight.
I've actually heard that one before. And basically, the game is actually fairly challenging, something to consider, but it is not so because of any sort of combat or anything like that. The depth of the game isn't, it's pretty skin deep, really. But that's not really what it's about. The kind of experience of exploring this universe is enjoyable in and of itself, and is something that I would actually recommend giving a shot. This game is available on Steam right now. It's only $12. $12 is not too bad. I'd say it's a fair price, because it might not offer incredibly massive amounts of stuff to do, but what it does in a very different way that you may not have actually experienced before, and I think that's worth a shot. RymdResa, everyone. Space travel. I think that it might be worth a shot. It's hard to say whether you'd like it or not. It's hard to kind of quantify it, because there aren't really many games that do the same thing that I can say, well, if you liked this, then you'll like this other thing. There's not really a lot I can do about that. But if you may enjoy the kind of mysterious, floaty writing, the ambient soundtrack that's very nice, the kind of relaxing theme of exploring space and the general idea of solving the mystery of what's out there and where do I fit in it, in a little kind of bite-sized, nicely styled package, then this game is pretty much the only one that does it like this, and I think that's worthy of praise in and of itself. So, RymdResa, everyone. Available at Steam right now for $12. Not too bad. And they are updating it. They have added some things, they've changed some balance things, they've fixed bugs. I haven't actually encountered any, to be honest. And they may be adding more stuff later. The devs are a small team, but they are also quite dedicated, obviously, to their game. They care about it, and they showed just as much interest in making it, you know, more replayable and things as their players do in actually playing it. So, yeah, it's worth your time, I think, if it looks even the slightest bit interesting. Ooh. Then I would actually recommend giving it a shot, because it's an experience that I can't really say I've seen a lot of before. Oh god, just wanna... oh, I'm totally screwed. Approach! Ooh, that time when I approached it, didn't end up as good as the other time. I just want to make it back to the home base. Come... oh, I was almost there. Yeah. Oh, we unlocked a legacy bonus, so let's do... item finding. Yeah. Okay, there we go, folks. RymdResa, an interesting, floaty, ambient, relaxing space exploration experience. That's a little long to put on the Steam page, but hey, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.